Hi everyone, how are you doing? It's been a long day today and I'm thinking of experimenting with some art materials that I have. Over here, I've drawn a lotus on paper. I'm going to start with the background colors first, so I've already applied masking fluid to the parts that I want to keep untouched. I feel like masking fluid is one of those things that if you can get it to work, it makes things so much easier. Here, because the flower is all covered up, I can quickly apply the background color in broad strokes instead of having to work my way around the edges of the outline. Now, I don't have a good history with masking fluid. Whenever I used it in the past, I'm never able to remove it successfully without ripping the paper. More on that later. For the background, I just want to use a simple color, so I went with a cool dark brown shade. Then I decided that I want to add some depth to the background, so I'm going to add a gradient as I work my way to the top of the picture. With the background done, we can now move on to the part that's a bit more fun, but also kind of nerve-wracking. I usually grab a corner of the masking fluid to peel it away from the paper. It is quite satisfying to just sort of like peel away and reveal the pristine white paper underneath. Now in the past, every time I pulled on it, it has actually ripped off the surface layer of the watercolor paper. It turns out that the trick to do this correctly is to slowly pull it parallel to the paper instead of pulling it perpendicularly from the paper. Sometimes the masking fluid doesn't peel off in one go, it sort of breaks apart. That's perfectly alright. I just got to find another edge, sort of grab hold of it and start peeling again. It's kind of like life's problems. Tackle it piece by piece, and even if it's too big at the start, you'll reach the end eventually. Sometimes for more complex pieces, I actually plan out what colors I want to use, but for this one it's more of an experiment, so I'm just going to do some things on sport. Since we have a dark, cooler brown background, a warm splash of orange will really be quite lovely. So I'm going to sort of do a ombre look with a darker orange in the center that slowly lightens up as we work our way towards the outer edges of the pattern. I really like how we end up with almost a fiery glow to these petals. The next part is where I think I make a mistake. I had always planned to experiment with using white outlines for this piece, which means I couldn't really leave the flower as white or some pale yellow shade, which will really fit in with the colors that we already have. I just needed something darker so that the white outline would stand out. It had been a long day, so my brain in its adult mode decided on this pastel, peachy, orange shade. It was something that wasn't too light, but wasn't too dark. It won't blend with the core colors, and it also won't stand out too much and grab too much attention. It didn't turn out too bad in the end, but after I was done, it felt like the pastel color really detracted from the initial airiness of the petals. But that's what you get with watercolors, there's no erasing. Then I've got to add the outlines. In most drawings, we usually see dark outlines, and I remember thinking, what if the outlines was white? Like, how would that change the look of things? So with a brush and a bit of white paint, I went to work. Why didn't I use a white gel pen? The one I had was too thin, and it didn't have great coverage. If you happen to know any white pens that are super great for art and works well over painted surfaces, let me know in the comments below. So this one I'm using is the white Calligraphy Ink by Winsor & Newton. Frankly, I have no idea what it's made of. I thought it might have been some kind of acrylic ink at first, but it doesn't actually dry permanent. When it comes into contact with water, it sort of dissolves again. It does have an interesting texture, so when I apply it thickly, it actually creates bubbles which pops as it dries. So I was really horrified when that first happened, but luckily it wasn't too obvious when it's fully dried down. I do like how the white outline turned out, and see you next time!